Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and this is just a quick video about SRAM, or excuse me, frog in my throat. It's a bit of a talk about availability of different SRAMs, and basically what I wanted was some SRAM for my little ZX81 project. Now I have got tons and tons and tons of 2K SRAMs in. I've got literally tubes and tubes and tubes of new old stock 2K SRAMs, but what I wanted was 32K SRAMs. I had a quick look online and they're getting quite expensive in, you know, standard DIP package. So I was looking on eBay and I found some surface mount 32K by 8 SRAMs, very, very cheap. When I say very, very cheap, I bought 10 for £1 each, plus including postage, sorry, from China. And I thought that was great, because you can get these adapter boards like this, and basically you can, I've done one here, basically. You can take the surface mount SRAM and mount it to one of these boards, and it turns it into a DIP package. So I've got a 32K by 8 SRAM there that I got from China for £1. Now when I saw the listing on eBay, it was great because they were all in the you know, like the carriages that pick and place machines use. It's like a long tape like that, and it's got all the ICs mounted in it, and I think in the machines it pulls back the covering and picks the actual chips out. And I saw them and thought, great, just what I want. So I ordered them, and they arrived today in an envelope like that, and I'll show you what's in the envelope. Yeah, they've taken them. At least they're either not the ones that they were showing on the listing, photographing on the listing, or they've basically, to save packaging, they've taken them out of their nice, lovely, safe, anti-static protective boxes, and they've stuck all 10. I mean, these have got, you know, little thin, tiny legs on them, and they've just stuck all 10 in a sealer bag like that. Now I am wearing anti-static here, but I don't know why I'm bothering, because I mean, they could be scrapped now, basically. That is really, really, really bad. I'm a bit disappointed with that, to be honest. If I'd have seen them just like that on the listing, I wouldn't have even put the offer in that I did. I mean, I got them cheaper. They were like £1.33 each online, and our offers. And I said, I want 10, will you do them at £1 each? And they come back, yeah, no problem. But I really were expecting them to at least put them in some anti-static. What I was really expecting them to do was cut them off in like 2 lots of 5 in the plastic tape and just stick them in a bag. I mean, alright, you might have just... No, even doing that, you would probably even fit them in that bag there and just had 2 strips in like that. And it would protect the legs, and it would protect them from ESD damage. So, I'm a little bit miffed about that. I am going to still play with them and see if they'll do what I want them to do, but I mean, that's just poor. I am going to contact the seller, and I am going to point out that I really am not happy. Like I said, that is absolutely yeah, it's for someone who is selling purely just electronic components, you know, that is a bit beyond the pale. But anyway, enough of that. Onto how I've mounted it on this board. Now, the first thing I will say is that these boards aren't intended to take these type of surface mount chips. Basically, hopefully you can see this. I can't honestly get the camera any closer, unfortunately, but basically, if you put the IC over, it completely covers the pads, so there's no way of soldering it in position. You can see there. I don't know how I can actually get this a bit. Let me try and get it down and go into macro and see if I can actually show you this. Let's just click that. I'll go over to macro. I don't know if this is going to show up at all on here. But if we have a look, the IC itself, like I said, it completely covers the pads there. So they don't actually fit. But what I found you can do, if you take, I won't do it on this one because I've still got to straighten. If you look there, I don't know if you can see, the legs are actually bent out of shape with just being thrown in that bag, so we'll have to go through this and straighten them before I can do what I've just done. But basically what you do is you roll the chip like that, gently roll it over, and you flatten, basically you flatten the legs so they're flat, and then you roll them round so this actually, so you actually roll the leg round so it's sitting on the bottom of the IC there. If you do that with them, you can actually, let me, I was going to say I'll put it back in its anti-static bag, but it's not even anti-static. In fact, if you bear with me, just 1 second. I've not got anything small, have I? Have I got any small anti-static boxes or something kicking around? Because I'm really not happy with putting them back in a, that lovely static producing polythene bag. Just bear with me. Oh, this will have to do. I'm just literally going to stick them in here. I'll do something. I'll put them in an anti-static box or something after this, but I will, at least then they are at least a little bit protected. But as I was saying anyway, so basically what you do is you roll the legs round so they're on the other side, so they're flat. They then look a bit like the RAMs you used to use on the old video cards. You know, you used to plug them into a socket when you're upgrading your half meg video card to 1 meg back in the day when you had ISA and PCI graphics cards. Anyway, there, you look at their leg there. I don't, like I say, it's not really easy to show this, but if you can see, that leg there's all bent in, so that'll have to be straightened. It just really is poor that they were sent like that. But like I said, if they work, they are cheap RAM, because cheapest I've been able to find 32K by 8 SD RAMs, the standard DIT ones, is like £3 and £4 each. So £1 each, and all these boards, these adapter boards, the 10 of them were like £2 delivered. So again, they're dirt cheap. And if we'll have a look here, and I have tested continuity, all pins are good. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to make, if you can make that out there, but like I said, just drag soldered. You just tack it one corner, tack it the other corner, and actually just drag solder it across, and then clean it up with a bit of braid and a little bit of extra flux, and as you can see, it has actually joined in. All, it's solid on there, and all pins are connected. I have checked continuity between all the pins and the corresponding pins on the actual IC, so it has actually fitted properly, even though it's not meant to fit on one of these boards. But then here's the next thing, is how you actually use it, because obviously you've just got a load of holes. You could solder wires into there, or you can use this pin header, and that's basically what I'm going to do. And I'm going to show you a little trick now for how you can get this perfectly lined up every time, because it can be a bit of a pain when you're working on this and you get it a bit askew, and then when you go to fit it on your board it won't fit. I'll show you a little trick to get away with that. We'll just break off the chip we're going to use there. That's a great thing with these. You can literally, once you've worked, you can just snap it off, and again snap it off, and there's our chip to play with. Let me just bring, I'll take you out of macro, and I will take you up a little bit. You can see what I'm doing. There we go. So we've got our chip, and we've got our pin header here. Well, it's got a little bit bent. And what you want to do is you need to cut 2 pieces of this, obviously, to the correct size. So we will just quickly cut a couple of pieces of this to the right size. So that's to there. I'll cut another one off exactly the same size as that. Oh, and that's the thing about pin header like this. There's more than one different type of pin header, and unless you're careful you can actually do some damage with pin header. And what I mean is, if you look at this, if you'll notice, one side is actually thinner than the other side, and one's your solder side and the other side is designed to fit in an IC socket. Just get an IC socket out. It's probably a scrap one, but yeah, we've got an IC socket there, and if you look, the thinner side is actually designed to be the same thickness of leg as an IC, and it actually does push perfectly in there. If you use the standard type where they're both the same size, you'll actually stretch and damage the holes in your actual IC socket because the pin is actually too big. They will fit with force, and if it's never coming out again, it's probably okay. But if you want something that's a fit replacement and you can actually take it out and put a standard chip back in, you've got to make sure you get the pin header that's got the thick on one side and the thin on the other. Anyway, let's get back to how we're going to make sure that when we solder that in there like that, that is perfectly aligned. And the way that I do it, just a minute, let's use that crap, is to use a piece of prototyping breadboard like that. This makes it so easy to do, and you can always make sure you've got it exactly lined up. First thing people say is, oh, but I don't want to ruin my nice prototyping breadboard because I'm going to get solder and flux and everything over it, and it'll ruin my nice piece of soldering breadboard. Take a scrap piece of paper, just tear a piece of this off, like that. Put that over your breadboard, just rub it through so you can see. Basically, if you just rub a slightly grubby finger over the top, you can see where the holes are. And then all you need to do is, if you take your pin header, make sure it's the right way round. Push it in. You can use that to just gauge where it needs to be. There we go, push that in. Then when you drop your board on top, as you can see there, everything is perfectly lined up and it's perfectly square. Now all we need to do is solder that in position. Let's get the old soldering iron. So we'll get a bit of nice solder here. And we'll get the iron, make sure the tip's clean. And then it's just a case I just realised I've got my soldering iron lead caught around the tripod, so if the shot's a little shaky at this exact moment, I do apologise. But I don't want to stop to move it when I'm in the flow. And there we go, simple as that. Oops, let's get that over there. And as you can see, let me just Get my anti-static from around there. We pull this out now. Get the piece of paper off. We are perfectly aligned there, so that is ready to play with. And so we can see it plugs down absolutely perfectly there. And as I'm building like a data board to fit on the computer, it doesn't actually matter that the legs are a little bit further apart as they would on a standard IC. As you see, that's like a that would be same as a 28 pin DRAM. You can see it is a little bit wider, so it's not a direct replacement, but when you're making your own circuits and you're making your own RAM expansion modules and stuff, nice cheap RAM, like I said, that's cost me £1.20 as opposed to like £3, £4 plus postage, which seems to be the standard price for a 32K by 8 SRAM. So I thought you might find that interesting. Like I said, I wish I could show actually like the drag soldering that I did on here, but I find it really difficult to do stuff like that and actually film it on this crappy camera. Maybe when I get a better camera, I'll show you like how I actually mounted that on there and how I drag soldered it in position. If you want to see some nice drag soldering, have a look at Gadget UK's some of his videos, because he's very good at SM surface mount work like this. I absolutely hate it. I really don't like working on surface mount stuff if I can avoid it. I mean, I've got the kit to do it. I've got rework stations, hot air, all that type of stuff. I just prefer working with through-hole technology. So, but like I said, if it means we can use this as through-hole now, it was cheap and it will do the job. So what? You know, it's good for what it is. So I'm going to leave it there for now anyway. I thought you might find that interesting, and just be careful when you're buying your parts from China. I mean, I absolutely love China. It's one of my favourite places to visit. It is a fantastic country full of some very interesting people. I have to say that because my girlfriend's from there, so in case she's watching one of these videos, I'll get a load of nagging and say, no, China's horrible and terrible. But there are some sellers there which are a little bit unscrupulous, shall we say. Anyway, like I say, I will leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed that little video. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.